In the last 17th session, we talked about the first session of the virtue of challenge. Today, let's proceed to the second session of the challenge. In the 17th session, we dealt with keywords of challenge, health, growth, self-reliance. Today, we are going to talk about keywords of self-esteem, courage, performance, renovation, and creation. The dictionary concept of self-esteem is to keep one's dignity for oneself. Self-esteem is a self-conviction that you think you are a self-precious person who is worthy of love, and self-confidence that it is a competent person capable of achieving a certain outcome. A person with self-esteem can establish his identity properly, and a person with a well-established identity can have self-esteem. Self-esteem is subjective rather than objective and neutral. Objectifying yourself is the first button to have self-esteem. This term was first used in the 1890s by American physician and philosopher William James. The concept of self-esteem is often confused with pride. Self-esteem and pride have the common meaning in terms of affirmation to oneself, but self-esteem means affirmation about the state as it is, and pride means affirmation in competition. Self-esteem is confidence in your own values. Self-esteem is not a delusion that you are perfect or superior to others. This is not obtained by comparing or competing with others. It is my conviction that life and happiness are deservedly worthy of being supported and protected. I am confident that I am a good person, worthy of others, and qualified. A well-formed self-esteem values a person and maintains a positive relationship with others. Through this, we overcome adversity and deal flexibly. Those with high self-esteem have the power of positive affirmation because the owner of his own life has a strong faith in himself. A person with high self-esteem is bound to be creative. It is because he has a high level of satisfaction with himself and he is active in all things. He has vision in his life and moves forward with his dreams. He likes to challenge and does not avoid fear. He welcomes and responds with all his sincerity. Self-esteem is the fuel of life's voyage. It is self-respect, not status or money, that makes us beautiful. You must have such self-esteem yourself. When you say, I am wrong, you feel disgusted, so you cannot exercise even half of the ability you have. But when you say, I can do it, you have a sense of self-worth and demonstrate your ability over 100%. You must believe in yourself and have self-esteem. There is no one like you and you are the only one in the world. The fact that over 7 billion people in the world are the only ones respectively can make you feel how precious you are. It is self-esteem that makes you shine from head to toe. It is enough to smile dignifiedly, not to talk with nervousness, to walk shoulder to shoulder and to walk vigorously even when walking. You do not get stuck in the environment, for you need to be able to say no. Focusing on work with self-esteem creates opportunities. It is self-esteem to give strength to the belly without backing down and challenging yourself. It is said that it is never too late to learn. Even if you are aged, you have the opportunity to challenge yourself with your self-esteem. Ray Kroc, a salesman, was 53 years old when he opened the first McDonald's store. He hired himself with pride that, I am the master of my life. The average age of those introduced in Eric Duden's book of 50-year-old, Living Shining Life, was over 64 years old. Only with passion, self-esteem which you can do anything regardless of age is the key to success. It is said that people continue to generate self-esteem if they continue the following efforts consciously. First, when you go to the meeting, always be at the front. Second, Let your body habituate gazing straight at the other person's eyes calmly. Third, walk 25% faster. Fourth, speak willingly. Fifthly, smile boldly. Smile big and boldly with your teeth visible. Positive thinking is better than negative thinking. Genius and successful people are those who realize this mystery and practice it. If we have been faced with the criticism of negativity and dysfunction, it seems that we have come to the point where we need to revive positive elements and find positive meaning and obtain positive energy. It is necessary to make efforts to emphasize positive aspects while making mistakes, criticizing and minimizing side effects. Courage's lexical concept is a gentle, strong mind or a spirit that does not fear things. Without adventure, there is no success, and success sends a smile to a brave man. In addition, there is less return if there is no risk. Courage is the inner force that comes from the heart. Caesar Gaius Julius Caesar said, "A coward dies many times in his lifetime, but a courageous person has one death." Courage becomes a life force. As Johann Wolfgang von Goethe says in Faust, that if you lose your courage, you lose everything. Courage and adventure are a must for success. The ignorant are brave, but true courage comes from preparedness. Courage is not an accomplishment but a continuous attempt. Life has no practice, only once. Therefore, we should live more importantly, and courage is the strongest stepping stone. Good luck is on the side of the brave. If you have the courage, you can start again. But if you lose the courage, you lose everything. Courage and fear are intertwined. So Mark Twain said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but resistance to fear and overcoming fear." Faith becomes courageous and acts when it encounters fear. We have a strong conviction about what we do, and when we move toward our goals, we face fear and face to face competition. In most cases, fear plays a useful role. When there is no fear, we become reckless as if we are jumping down a cliff without a parachute. Fear makes us careful. Courage is a great energy for those who read the future or those who dream of change. And courage is the last 1% power. Fate is weak in the face of a courageous man, and strong in the face of a coward. Life is not determined by what happens before our lives, but by what kind of attitude we take. More important than fate is the attitude of looking at it. It depends on your attitude and your fate. Adversity is part of life and adversity is inevitable. Courage is the key to a good fate. Opportunity does not come by itself without adventure. Opportunity is to visit a person who is full of preparedness, adventure spirit. A person who is trying to get ahead of others with courage takes the opportunity and arrives at the summit first. Success is taken up by courageous people. Being courageous in life does not guarantee success. But if you surrender to fear and turn away from your life, you are surely guaranteed to fail. If you do not face your life bravely, you will not get experience, and if you do not get experience, you will have limitations. Without knowledge, there is no wisdom. No matter what your life is, you have to be brave. Life is meant to be alive, not to be avoided. No one tells us what life is and how to live. Based on experience and circumstances, it is the fuel of the soul and the energy of the spirit that you live bravely day by day based on your experience and circumstances. Every experience is a gift, no matter how trivial it may seem. Everyone you meet in life, friends or enemies, are a gift. Because we learn patience and tolerance in difficult situations and difficult people. To brave the storms of life begins with knowing that it will come. And when they do, you have to be brave enough to do your best first. To learn something, you should not turn your head away from it. It's never easy to face the winds, the cold, and the darkness of the storms of life, but it is something you must go through. Geese flying in A, B, can make them travel thousands of miles. Scientists have discovered something of a marvelous study in the amazing ability of these geese. When geese fly in flock, they make a sound of quack, quack, dozens of times a minute. The cry of the geese when flying means fighting. You can do it. You can do it. Go. Go. Let's go. It is the voice of cheering that encourages each other. Encouragement has such great power. You should encourage your family and others in their hope. It is important not to encourage them only in your minds, but also to express yourselves positively as geese do. The lexical concept of performance is a resultant accomplishment. It is better to look at it than to listen to it 100 times, and it is better to try it yourself than to watch it 100 times, and it is better to get one performance than to try it. Just thinking does not yield results. This society should be supported by implementation in order to demand and achieve performance. If you cannot achieve performance regardless of individual or organization, growth will stop. According to some research, only 10% of managers are able to achieve the desired results. Peter Ferdinand Drucker, assuming a person is an executive in today's organization who should make a substantial contribution to the organization's work and achievement owing to his or her knowledge or status, whether he or she is a CEO or a new employee, he emphasized that he or she must achieve results. By working hard with comprehension, knowledge, and skills, you can never achieve performance, and you need something else. In other words, raising a performance does not require special talents or aptitudes but requires a different ability to connect those qualities to performance. In addition, even some self-discipline and effort alone can be enough to gain this ability. Regardless of life or management, the process is important, and the results should be good. To survive in a crisis to win. The ability of a person is often judged as a result rather than a beginning in a process. Stop trying to comfort yourself with the words that you have done your best or learned in the process, but let's change yourself. What are the characteristics of individuals and companies that make a performance? They have a fast ability to move their decisions into action, and they put their strength into practice through evaluation. We also think that employees who work responsibly and faithfully are assets of the company and the company compensates them according to their abilities. Finally, they do not hesitate in failure, but they set the stage for success. This focus on performance is a key strategy for individuals, and hence for companies to succeed. It is natural that the startup companies are committed to the results. The same is true for companies that have already succeeded. Managers should stimulate their staff and ignite their motivation. When all the employees are working toward a single result, the companies in the position of the stronger can further develop. The tip of a sharpened sword naturally becomes dull. It is a performance driven mindset that improves a product or service to deliver higher value to its customers, and in turn, to get higher value for itself, that is, to earn higher profits by making better results. Simply performing a task is not a result. Act first rather than pursue perfection. No excuses are needed before the performance. There is no best, but just something better. The goal must be achieved. Even if the number of beads is enough, those should be sown. No matter how good the process went, if there was no achievement, it would be a fair but empty phrase. Great process and great results ensure success. There is a proverb saying that you have only to go to Seoul even if you choose wrong ways. But it is against the economic logic to get the best results with minimal investment. Whether you ask someone else or search the internet, you have to find the fastest and safest way. The goal is the beginning of all the results. Therefore, it is important to set goals well and proceed with the process in good faith. Just as with navigation, you set up goals, enter your current location, and select waypoints. The dictionary concept of innovation is completely changing and renewing old customs, convention, organization, and methods. Innovation ability is the ability to think about ways other people have not thought about and to do things that others cannot. Every day, as an ancient scripture says, you have to change every day. You have to work in new ways and always find something new. The symptoms of slow death do not signal. Settling for the present is a kind of euthanasia. Life may not die by getting older, but it may be a process of gradually disappearing. Individuals and corporations cannot survive if they do not respond to constant and invisible changes. The symptoms of progressive death are mainly within us. Even in the case of individuals, they also exist in the inner lifestyle, such as lifestyle and consciousness. And they are usually practices that have been deemed to be natural for decades or so, and it is hard to notice the seriousness of the symptoms in advance, because they eat a little bit of Cinebro and get to the terminal state of the unhealing state. Even though you acknowledge it, it is after you have missed the time already. In the Asian society, people cannot ignore the role of Zhou Yi as the report of wisdom that tells the difference of nature and the way of life. Zhou Yi had been guiding the ancestors as a guide to understanding the situations that they faced and suggesting ways to overcome them. The protagonist discusses the intention of transforming the world into a place where everything must be settled again, rather than enduring the contradictions and difficulties of the past. The leopard must open up the future with the attitude of sharpening the hair to match the changes of the season and saving the beauty of the leather. So now, beyond the survival of the fittest, the innovator has entered the age of survival. There is danger in comfort. Change and innovation are strategic choices for survival. It is true innovation not to make failure stay as the failure. Everything always leaves room for improvement. And failure is still the driving force for success. The nature of creation and development is innovation, and the driving force of innovation is failure. While success continues, human arrogance and ambition spring up without knowing the end, while learning becomes neglected. Human beings are always exposed to all kinds of failures, including self satisfaction and excessive confidence. And this loophole of human nature makes it clear why we should be alert to the snares of success and listen to the lessons of failure. Past failures could be the cornerstone of growth, but past success could be a stumbling block to innovation. The little difference depends on whether you overcome the obstacle or are settled for the present. And when you pile up the little differences one by one, you can achieve a new success myth that nobody can even dream of. Innovation techniques can become obsolete if they become ineffective. But innovation itself must always be new. We must always break through the present situation with the attitude that the current method is not the best. Nowadays, in a situation where the gap between the leader and the late runner becomes narrower, only the individual and the enterprise that constantly do self denial and develop can guarantee survival and growth. Innovation activities can be likened to running bikes. If the movement is slowing down, you must step on the pedal again. If we do not go forward, even survival can be shaken. Creation's lexical concept is to make things that did not exist before, or to achieve new performance, achievements, and values. If we do not create new things, we would not survive. The creation of new wealth is cultivated by ideas and creativity. It is a creation age in which the gap of creativity becomes the gap of wealth. There is nothing new in the world, but it is changing from imitation to creation. Creativity refers to the creation of something new by turning over the existing one. The paradigm of management has also changed. The flow changed to the fourth wave of creating new value by using knowledge and information in the era of mobile connectivity through the first wave of supplier centered, the second wave emphasizing efficiency, the third wave of knowledge and information. Creation is basically based on the ability to look at the world differently and think of something else, in other words, imagination. Edison left 1,093 inventions, Freud 650 papers, Bach 1,080 compositions, Picasso 2,000 sketches, Mozart 600 compositions, Rembrandt 650 drawings and 2,000 sketches, Einstein 248 papers, and Shakespeare 154 plays. This kind of creative thinking can be nurtured through practice and training, though they were gifted. Masaharu Kato, who wrote a book called The Tool of Thinking, instructs you to train and try to think freely and think softly until you get the illusion that you may be a genius. To be creative, you should not be afraid of mistakes. It is also necessary to maximize the efficiency of work and rest and to discuss freely. Creativity cannot be brought about in a context or stressful situation. Imagination is supposed to be unreasonable and unrealistic right now, but its potential value is endless. There is no future for those who do not imagine. Today's competitive environment requires imagination in addition to changing ability for every individual and company. Imagination that predicts and creates a future that others cannot think of is a measure of ability assessment that goes beyond diligent sincerity and is a source of competitiveness that no one can imitate. Even if you know a lot of things, it will become useless if you do not add them to the added value. Linking knowledge into value is the role of creativity and innovative ideas. It is an age when to imagine power. Increasingly, innovative ideas based on creative imagination are linked to goods and services, creating tremendous added value. Now the age of soloing with the omnipotence of one man has passed. The time when somebody demonstrates his creativity alone has gone, but we make everything together. The social solidarity network that connects your expertise with the expertise of others and cooperates through continuous decision making will become more and more intense, rather than the individual who has the expertise required in each field. Only those individuals and organizations that build such a solid network can amplify the synergy of imagination and creation. The fastest way to the final destination is going all together. The creation of a creative knowledge community that goes hand in hand even if it is difficult is the most futuristic aspect. While the example of Edison, the inventor, who underwent about 110,000 failures throughout his life emphasizes the spirit of challenge. On the one hand, it demonstrates his strengths in discovering the sprouts of new creation in failed cases. Creation is important, but it is impossible to create something out of nothing. It is only the realm of God. A creative human is a person who creates a good in a metaphor. You can achieve extraordinary success when you can create new values in the already existing ones. It is said that the greater the amount of experience and knowledge accumulated in the brain is, the greater the probability of creativity increases. Finally, persistent learning through reading is the key to creativity and judgment. To be successful, you have to challenge yourself, and nothing is free. Health, such as humane health, mental health, and physical health, are the best values. You increase the value added of yourself and society through your own continuous growth. You become an independent self navigator who does not depend on others but lives your life for yourself. Based on your self esteem, you find yourself and live your life for you. Enjoy the adventure with courage and take precedence by always leading. Although the process is important, you care about the achievement. Continue to innovate to create a new resume each year. Create new value through creative ideas.